Garden Isle. Have you seen this podcast? Aldrin, Aaron, and Kahai. This is the podcast. This is the podcast with lots of aloha. Here they come from Kauai.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Ukulele on the Ground podcast. My name is Aldrin Guerrero. Joining me are Mr. Aaron, the voice, not commercial. What's up, Aaron?
What's up?
And Mr. Kahai, the legend Ferguson. What's up, Kahai?
What's up?
Gentlemen, it's Monday, 12 p.m. Hawaii Standard Time. That means it's time to talk it up. We are talking it up. We're going to be talking ukulele. You give us questions, and we give you opinions on those questions. Okay? How this works is there's multiple avenues you can ask questions. You can ask via the live chat. We are live. This is the Ukulele on the Ground live podcast. Or you can email us questions. Don't forget to ask questions at ukuleleontheground.com. Or there's a voicemail number that you can leave voicemail at. You can do all kinds of stuff, right, Kai? If you have Kai's number, you can text him.
Yeah, some people do have my number.
Text him. Text him. I want to see his face. On
Come on, guys. Don't text me on Mondays. Please don't text me on Mondays.
Ooh. I'm going to apologize in advance if I seem a little low energy today. It's been a crazy weekend. Actually, it's just been a crazy 3 weeks straight or something that it's just been insane. So yesterday was
going on 4 weeks.
Yeah, going on 4 weeks, and it doesn't stop until after the 5th week, because this week is crazy. This weekend is crazy, and the next week is the same thing. So it's not until next weekend that we get a little bit of time to to breathe and stuff. But it's just an everyday thing for the past about 3-4 weeks now. So, and yesterday was the ukulele Kauai Ukulele Festival. So as naturally being an ukulele teacher here on Kauai, I was involved. Aaron was involved. Kai, what were you doing, man?
At work. Or not at work, at home. Working.
Yeah. No, he was working hard for you guys. Never mind the Kauai ukulele people. It's about the ukulele on the ground people, which I love that about Kahai. See, that's why there's a KFC. Kahai is out for you guys. All right. Now, we were doing the live lesson or live coaching this morning, and you're kind of like, I need to get this done. I'm like, you got it, Kahai. You got it.
Still not done, but
you got it, man. You got it. So, So I apologize in advance for the slightly low energy, but I'm gonna try to, I'm gonna try my best, right? Right, Kai? Right, Oos?
Oh, yeah. I feel so energized now. He said the magic phrase.
Yeah,
it was okay.
Yeah. No, it just means brother.
Yep.
All right. So, Kahai, with that said, what do you want to talk about?
Yeah, we got a question sent in along with homework
Sure.
or a tech review too.
Sounds good.
This is from 4-string Joe.
Wait. 4-string Joe?
Mm-hmm.
Did he graduate from 4-string boy or?
I think no affiliation.
No affiliation. Okay. Just wanted to ask. Okay, go ahead.
So he said, so this is basically Uke 101 lesson 2 homework. Kind of wondering if I'm ready to move on and how to know you've mastered a topic, or how long should you spend on a lesson before moving along. Also, mostly the chord switches are clean, I think. I'm getting better with using the metronome and landing the change on the beat. The trouble I'm having is sometimes when landing after a change, my fingers bounce or need to reposition to feel solid. Any thought on how to eliminate this tendency? My fingers behave like a drunken gymnast trying to stick the landing.
Okay, so he sent a video, as you should. If you're asking for technique or basically a technique check. And it was great. So I watched it. I think he's, did he mention how long he's been playing?
I think it's been for a few months at least on Ukulele Underground. So yeah.
Okay, it's you're doing fine for where you're at, and the exercises that you were doing, it seems like it's right there where you should be as as a beginner. Like I don't expect it to be perfect or flawless or anything like that. But there's definitely a lot of room for improvement. There's definitely some places to work on. In particular, yeah, I noticed that you can be on beats. Like I was watching it. I think it starts off as on beat, but you tend to lose it. But also, like I noticed you went back. Like like after once you're lost, I think you realize you lost the beat and then go right back to it, which is a good sign. Because honestly, like for myself, sometimes I and not even sometimes, like a lot of times I find myself offbeat, but trying to get back and into it and trying to find it again. I think that's a good trait that you have right now is realizing that you're not on there. Because what would be worse, it would be if you lose the beat and you're just insistent on no, I'm right, the metronome's wrong, that kind of thing. And that I feel like is backwards. But since you're doing that, I feel like you're in the right direction. You're at least working on your ear and working on the feel for good rhythm. Okay. And you did like down strums and down ups. The down strums are a little bit harder, especially at that at that slow of a tempo. So I wouldn't stress out too much about it. Try to keep your hand moving though. So a lot of the times I saw you just kind of you drop your hand and then it kind of stops there. Just kind of keep the hand moving. And when the hand's moving and it kind of works. And I've said this before, kind of like a pendulum, So see like how my hand moves instead of just go. So here's like kind of the hand just not moving. Same tempo. See how there's a slight bounce and movement to my hand. So you want to keep it moving, because if you stop right here, you're actually tightening up the muscles in your hand. And sometimes if the muscles get a little too tight, then you're going to come in a little bit late. Or if you get anxious, you might come in a little bit too early there. So just by moving your hand and using your hand kind of like almost like the metronome, and you got this kind of pendulum movement with your hand, making sure that that the rhythm of your hand is nice and steady. Okay, you want to keep things nice and steady. Now, positioning wise with your ukulele, that needs a little bit of work. I think we kind of all talked about it, going back to I feel like lesson 1, to make sure that you're holding your ukulele correctly. I feel like you should check that out a little bit more.
Lesson 1, but of ukulele 100.
Yeah, ukulele 100 lesson 1. Yeah. So just kind of making sure that you're holding the ukulele correctly. I noticed, your hands a little too much like down here and almost like touching with your palm. Make sure that it's got like a nice little angle like this. So when you're reaching for your chords, for example, so it's like shaking hands with the person in front of you like this, placing the neck like so, and then having your chords move that way. Okay, and this I think in 100 we taught it this way. The thumb and the pointer will touch the neck. Go, then put it where the neck touches the body, and then put your forearm down, or put it, use the bend of your elbow to kind of grip your ukulele. So you're kind of strumming here where it should be, right? So, and then it looks like this. So if you're playing C, see how my wrist looks nice and relaxed rather than like trying to chop my way down the strum. And here is a C chord. I'll show it to you from this angle so you can kind of see that my palm is not closing this gap between the neck and my palm. So it looks like this. So when I play the C chord, it looks like that. And I'll show it to you from this angle so you can kind of see there's like that gap, right? So because you don't want to do this. Because if you do that, then your fingers have to kind of bend all the way in. It's going to be harder for you to, play that chord. Yeah, just kind of work on that, and we'll work on like getting the bounce or getting the looseness on the wrist. It's like a wrist thing, and I think we talked about in that class. This has been so long ago, but I feel like we had the pill bottle. You just kind of take your thumb and the pointer finger, just kind of do that, and then like do like shake it, right? Like shake the pill bottle.
Yeah,
This
there was
kind
a
of
dot on
the dot. So like looking at the dot and then like putting the dot away, looking at the dot and putting the dot away. This movement right here is gonna help you be a little bit more consistent, because this is kind of what we're looking for. Yeah. Okay. And then going to F. Now, when you're saying that, when you switch chord and you're a little bit unstable on that chord, you might be like gripping your ukulele too much. It doesn't even, you don't have to grip it that hard in order to play chords in your ukulele. For example, here, the thumb, I'm not even going to put it in the back. I'm just going to use my ring finger just enough to put it in place like this. So if you're holding it correctly, it kind of has a natural tendency to move out like so. Take your ring finger, place that on the fret that you want to play for whatever chord you want to play. In this example, C, just kind of moving it back like this. So it's not even like I'm trying to bring it all the way back. It's just moving it back in place like that. So that's all the pressure that I'm putting on top. And it's nice and clean, Even with the F chord, for example. Nice and clean. G7, a 3-finger chord. Here's my thumb just for example. So I'm not gripping it in any way. I'm not saying put your thumb over here. I'm just giving you an example that you don't have to stick the landing as you're saying. As long as you're using your fingertips to kind of fret the string, and you're pulling it back enough to hold it into place. And I'll show you what that looks like. So it goes from here to about here.
I think
so. It's not even like all the way like this,
Yeah,
Yes.
part of it was that he was using his thumb in the back, though. He wasn't using the pillow.
Oh, I see.
Like he should.
Yeah,
probably,
so probably use the pillow.
Yeah, and then have a straight wrist, because what he was doing was he was putting the thumb in the back
and then going like this. Yeah.
So that might be part of the reason why he wasn't sticking the landing, was because
it's unstable.
Yeah, that is unstable to begin with.
Yeah. So the rule here at Ukulele Underground, and I wish more people would follow, is that the thumb actually doesn't go back in the back unless you're holding a chord that requires you to use one finger on multiple strings. So for example, like a B flat, you're using your pointer finger to hold E and A strings on the first fret when you hold it, or like an E chord or a bar chord and stuff like that. So chords like A, C, F, G, D minor, E minor, you always see my thumb at the top here and not in the back. And I know a lot of people are like, I've always played it like this. But honestly, if you put it in the back, you have like so much risk of like dropping this wrist, and it's that's not that great for you. It doesn't have to do that. Like as relaxed as your hand can get, because if you think about it, if your thumb is in the back, it's already like not relaxed. Like you don't do this with any other activity, right? But if you put the thumb at the top and you play your ring finger for your C chord, if you take your ukulele away, it just looks like this. It's pretty natural looking. But if you were to put your thumb in the back and play the C chord, it looks like this, which is, and you see my wrists kind of like start to cramp up or start to tighten up a little bit there. So this, which is just halfway to doing this, so it's like going from opening to like closing. So it's a natural movement rather than this. We don't do this really, right? Unless you play with puppets, so it's not that natural. So try to get used to the pillow grip for now, and then going to the other grip, like more intermediate and advanced grips later on.
Yeah, I think I was telling Aaron that it's like you should, for any grip, you should be trying to like make kind of a natural closed fist. Like if you take the ukulele away, it should be a natural
It should be, yeah.
And a big part of that is like keeping your wrist straight.
Yeah.
Because if you make a closed fist and then you try to like bend your wrist up or bend your wrist down, you'll like feel that you can't put more like strength into your fingers.
Yeah.
So keeping that wrist straight is actually what's letting you able to hold the chords. I think like people think like I'm pushing out my wrist so I can put more effort into like from this angle I can kind of push it more towards myself, you know. And I also noticed that he's like tilting his uke to look at himself too, right? Like he's
Look at the fretboard.
Yeah. Fretboard.
Yeah.
So it's like it's hard because like probably from your angle, your position, you can't really tell that your wrist is like twisted or so jutted out. And that's where it's like if you practice in front of a mirror, or it's like check these videos that you're recording of yourself.
Yeah.
Try and make sure that it's like, okay, is my wrist straight? Does it look natural?
Sorry, this microphone keeps like slowly dropping as the show goes. Okay.
Yeah.
Because I don't want to go like this. Like my posture is already pretty bad.
Yeah. Also, it looks like he's using a strap, even though he's just sitting down, right? So he doesn't really need the strap. So maybe he doesn't have. It doesn't look like he has as much of that triangle that you talk about. So I don't know if you want to go over that really quick.
So the triangle, is your ukulele, your body, and the neck of the ukulele. There should be a triangle, between that. It's like an illusion, right? When you look at my ukulele, it looks like it's the other angle. So it looks like it's kind of like straightforward, like so. If I put my the back of the ukulele parallel with my body, it would look like this. So this is what it would look like. And if I did that, if I took the ukulele away, my elbow would be like back here because it's trying to make it straight, right? So the elbow shouldn't be back here. So you move your elbow like where your body is. So my body is right there. Here's my body. So my elbow moves in, giving that triangle. So if I lower this, you see the triangle, my elbow. Here's my body. I shouldn't have wore a black shirt maybe. And then the ukulele, there's a triangle here that's kind of going on. So you can see this triangle. So you want that triangle there. So you move it forward. Okay, because a couple things happen. Your elbow goes all the way back if you want to keep a straight wrist or a relaxed, loose wrist. But if it doesn't go back, if your elbow doesn't go back, if your elbow's in place, then you do one of these. And that's probably why, because you're putting your thumb in the back. Also, you're going to get one of these. Yeah, so that's not good because if we took our uke away and we took a look at what that looks like, it's this. So we don't really do that like too often. You're going to hurt your wrist. Yeah, so forward, about shoulder height, like so. Yeah, but rhythm-wise, though, I think you're doing okay for where you're at, though.
Yeah, I think that is a thing though, because you said like shoulder height, and I can imagine that he thinks like, oh, I am doing shoulder height, and he is. His headstock is in height with his shoulder, but because he's using a strap, it's not.
Yeah, it's like up here. So it's if you're using a strap and it's all the way up here, because we say shoulder height from like when your lower bout goes on your right leg. From when your lower bout goes on your right leg, then you go about shoulder height. That's where the position we want. But if it's here,
the strap is kind of
you're trying to do one of these.
It's sort of like preventing it. Yeah.
Oh, he's going like this.
Or it's just like the strap is preventing him from doing the full triangle.
Yeah. Bring it out a little bit. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Other than that, I thought it was fine. I mean, for where you're at, I feel like you're going in the right direction. It's just not like anything too concerning. Don't let us talking don't let us talking about for 20 minutes, like concern you, I guess. Well, I don't want it to seem like you're on the wrong track. No, you're doing okay.
That is like the thing though. It's that like I feel like getting a good start is like the hardest part and does take the most work for a lot of people. And that's kind of why I think like, or it's deceptive because like they say like, oh, ukulele is so easy, just pick it up.
Yeah.
And people
and it can't be that easy, but if you want to play it properly, it's just not.
Yeah. That's where it's like people pick it up.
Yeah.
They learn however they learn, whatever they watch. Then they go try to move on to something harder, and then they're like, oh, why is this so hard for me? It's like that beginning
go
step.
back.
You really got to get that.
See, because of the low energy, I want to drink some green tea. But it's a little bit discouraging, Kai. Remember this entire time we're like, oh my gosh, this. I'm not even gonna say their name. I'm not even gonna give them the satisfaction. Okay, I'm like, oh, sponsor us this green tea maker and whatever, and then like, I don't think anyone, at least not in America, have been sponsored by this tea company. And then all of a sudden, I'm like, who is that person? There's a person like on the front. I don't even want to show it. Also, I'm gonna show this person.
If you know,
I'm just gonna
you
go like
know.
this. Okay, see that? Okay, there's a person on the bottle now of
And it's
this
not
green
you.
tea. And it's not me. I'm disappointed.
That I think if a green tea company had to get anybody though, I think that is
Yeah, I don't even want to say who it is, but apparently you have to be at that upper echelon level. Let's just say you gotta play a sport that involves hitting a ball and then going around on bases.
possibly be a national hero
No.
for that particular.
Oh, here we go. Just because I don't make as much as it's because.
Just
What?
because you're not a Japanese national hero.
Yeah, what up? Wait, is it because we use rubber bands and paper clips to hold the show together? Is that why? Like, you know what I mean? Is that it? Is it because Is it because he has pants with zippers that work and I don't? Right? Is it because his shirts don't have holes in them? Because I feel like I have some that don't have holes in them.
You could get shirts without holes.
Yeah, that's right. Kahai. I could get them if I wanted to. Okay.
You're choosing not to.
Yeah, just because he get enough beverages like for every day of the week, and he doesn't have to wash them like midweek, so that that he has enough beverages.
Yeah.
But like who does he think? Who does this company think why? How is that person that much better than me, Kahai? Has this person won any podcast awards? Because I won 2.
Yeah. Maybe.
Just who's counting? I am, but and he has 0 that I know of.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Wouldn't be surprised if he did.
So, not like I was begging or anything for the past how many years for this company to sponsor us. Not that I guess I'm still drinking the drink regardless. But I need caffeine, man. I can't drink coffee. You don't want that heart to go bump 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 bump. I want to cover this man's face. I can't even stand looking at him. And there's no regular bottles at the store.
Really?
It's only bottles with his face in it. It's just taunting me every time. Like, haha, I'm sponsored by this company and you're not. I'm like,
I saw.
let's have a podcast off with this guy. I feel like I could, for the sponsorship.
There's a guy who was traveling in Japan. He doesn't really speak Japanese, and they're doing it without like using a translator or anything, right? And he's like, I want people to come up and talk to me, so I'm gonna buy the hat of that person, that the team, put it on.
Yeah.
He did it immediately. Like people in Japan came up and were like, "Hey, I love that person." So it was like, yeah.
I bet I get the same reaction if I wore a Manny Pacquiao shirt to the Philippines. I guess you gotta be a national hero.
Yeah,
Oh.
yeah.
I guess I gotta win championships in multiple divisions, or have one of the biggest, most lucrative signings in sports history. I don't want to say which sport,
Yeah.
but let's just say
Ball and base type of sport history.
okay. I don't even want to say who it is. All right, that's how angry I am, Kai. Next question.
Well, what about what Joe was asking about? How do you know when to move on, or how do you know? How
You
long
don't.
to-
Honestly, you don't move on. See, these are the things that you do, like doing the quarters, eighths, that you were doing, switching from C to F and stuff. I would hope people don't stop doing that. Okay, because I feel like those are fundamentals and those are basics that even if you just did it one time during your during serious practice, and I talk about practice being 30 minutes, even if you just sat down and did that for as just part of the 30 minutes that you're doing, you're going in the right direction, because it's always good to work on fundamentals. It's always good to work on, what is that, 80, 90 beats per minute, kind of strumming and stuff. And, consistency is always good regardless of what level you are. Like I said, sometimes I have a hard time trying to keep with rhythm and beat and stuff. So you do move on, and it's up to you. You can move on, go do other stuff. and then you can always go and have that as still part of your what is the word I'm looking for here, part of your regimen. I was like regimen like regimen to sorry, brain's not braining. Part of your resume regimen to for practice, okay? And then, as you get better, you just add more things to that regimen. But if you're at least practicing stuff like that, it keeps your fundamentals like really, really good. So when do you know that that you can go on? Just go on. Yeah. If you feel like you can do other practices or other like warm-ups or other just other things that you can do with your ukulele to properly get your hands or your fingers working the right way or getting the techniques down, then move on to the next thing, but always come back to those just so that you don't forget your fundamentals. You can move on whenever you want. Like it's after you watch that, if you're just like, okay, cool, that was nice. Next, you could. The next level would be just to add songs. Like right now, you're switching chords and stuff, and you're doing quarters and eighths and whatever. But if you then apply that to a song, I think that's your next step. But just because you're applying it to a song, and it doesn't mean that you're not going to be practicing it anymore, right? Like you would still kind of go back to it just to make sure that you got your fundamentals down.
Yeah, I think I was telling Aaron that it's like, I think don't let it like stop you. Or we hear people say like, oh, I'm doing this until I get it perfect, and then I move on. Yeah, it's like it's what you're doing now, like learning now, especially as a beginner, is like just try and learn as much as you can and just keep going, and don't worry about like perfecting techniques or stuff, because a lot of stuff come over time and with just like playing more. Yeah. So like I would say just focus more on like exploring and like learning more, or like seeing more what is there to play and what is there to do too.
Because I'm going to use one example here. A lot of you folks watching right now are probably having a hard time with your E chord, or at least the proper way to hold your E chord, correct? So if that's something that you can't, are you not going to move on just because you didn't perfect it? Like, right? It would do you and your happiness and your joy of playing a disservice if you stop because you can't get the E chord, right? Like you just, and like how we say here all the time, like just try it. If it comes out, then it comes out. If it doesn't come out, then don't worry about it. At least you keep trying. Like you're working on it, but then you're also doing other things and moving on to other techniques while you're working on on that E chord. Same thing, I don't think you should stop doing that like ever, even when you get to like a professional level. Like sometimes you just bringing it down to a simple and basic switching from C to F like works wonders, honestly. And just focusing on the rhythm and making sure you're right there on time, and maybe working on like groove and stuff. Like 2 chords is it, man.
Because I think we talked about this before, where it's like all of us here, and I'm pretty sure like you ask any musician who plays for been playing for a long time, do you have a song that you've been working on for like multiple years straight, or it's like not a song that it's like, okay, I mastered this song, I'm done, I 100%ed it. Is like there's just songs where it's like that song is just in my list and I just keep coming back to it over time. Even if I can play the song fully, I keep coming back to it to see like what else I can add to it too, right? So it almost is like where it's great if you feel accomplished because you do learn songs, or you do feel like, oh, I finally got this technique. But eventually, like I think the more you keep playing, the more you find out that it's just like, oh, this is not a weeks, days, or months kind of thing. It's like this is just over a long period of time. I just keep working on it. Yeah.
So when do you know it's time to move on? That's up to you. You can move on whenever, but every now and then just go back to it and see, because sometimes you don't want to be stuck like in, you don't just want to keep bashing your head through a wall, that kind of thing. Like go around it. It's gonna be okay.
Yeah. Or it's like we tell people too, a lot of times you go on to something else.
Yeah.
And by changing it and going on to something else, it probably makes whatever you were having a hard time with easier in the long run.
Yeah.
Like when you do go back to it, it's like, oh man.
Oh, definitely. Yeah.
I don't know why I was having such a hard time with this. Okay.
Next.
Yeah.
Well, Yvette had a related question to this, so
Yeah, I was
maybe
gonna
we
pull
can
it
go.
up.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, she said, any good strategies on a structured practice regime? How often should you practice weekly for practice to be effective?
Okay. I've talked about this before, but as I always mention, every one of these podcasts could be someone's first podcast. I know it's not Yvette's one, but like Yvette probably didn't have time to go over like the thousands of hours of content that we have. So, a practice regimen. You first have to define practice for yourself. Okay, what is practice? Is it like playing songs? Does that count as practice? Because for me, no. Like the key word there is play. You don't want to be playing stuff. You want to practice. You want to make sure that you're getting practice in and you're working towards getting better. Not necessarily getting better at a single song, but just getting better at the instrument in general. That's for me what practice is. Practice should, for me, once again, it should not last more than 30 minutes, okay? A 30-minute practice is ideal and optimal for the best amount of retention. After like 30 minutes, your retention tends to like go down. And retention is just like whatever you retain from the practice that you practice. So if you want to make sure that you're getting the most out of your practice and you're keeping all the things that you've learned, or your muscles are getting the most of what you're kind of teaching them how to do, that is ideal. I feel like I'm going like this. Can I lift this up again? So I'm gonna lift even higher this time. So when it goes down,
Yeah.
there. So with practice, the 30 minutes should be broken down into different sections as well. So 30 minutes could be like 5-10 minutes of warm up. And then 5-10 minutes of a key, like scales and stuff like that. Another 5-10 minutes of of technique, and if you can fit it in there, another 5-10 minutes of maybe like a picking part or a sequence on a song that you're working on and stuff. Okay. And you can also add and toss other things as you see fit. So warm-ups, if I feel like warm-ups is one of the most important part in this whole thing, because you can't expect to teach your hands to do stuff if your hands are not ready. Okay. Warm-ups will always make sure that your fingers and your muscles and your hands are ready to receive the training that you're trying to put it under. Okay. So if you don't train it properly, then that's when we either cramp up or I can't seem to do this, or my fingers just don't bend that way, or whatever the excuse may be. Then that's the kind of stuff that happens. All right. Do warm-ups like 8-4-2-1, which is taking 2 chords and then doing 8 beats, switch, and then 4 beats, switch, 2 beats, switch, 1 beat, switch, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 1, 1, or whatever. Okay, there are a variation of that. You can do 2 chords, you can get 3 chords, 4 chords, 5 chords. Who cares, right? Just as long as you're training your hand to move in between chords. So that can be warm up, because you're warming up your left hand by switching first 8 beats, so giving your hands a little bit of time to switch, and then you're making that gap less and less as you go along. So it's training your fingers. Okay, so you're gonna stay here for 8 beats, go to here to 8 beats, and 4 beats, and then it gets faster. So it naturally trains your hand to go from slow to fast. And then your right hand is trying to keep steady as well. So you're working on your right and your left hand and making sure that both of these work together. All right. It can be other things too, like the worm. So we taught that, or the spider, it goes like this: 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, something like that. Then I just switch groups midway. So the spider. Now you can do things like that, or you can do a Z chord like this and just work on like quarters, 8/16s, 1, 2, 4 quarters. Here's quarter, here's 8, here's 16s, back to quarter, back to 8, 16s, 8, quarter. And things like that, just kind of warm up your anything that warms up your hands, or it can just be like exercises like rock on, inner peace, like things, anything that warms your muscles and gets them prepared to for the training that it's about to undergo. Okay. Another one is a key or scales and stuff. I wouldn't necessarily say scales. I would say scale, one scale. I've talked about this before. Pick one key, focus on that key, learn that scale. Learn that scale on one string, learn that scale on 2 strings, learn that scale on 3 strings, so on and so forth. Okay. And then learn that scale 1, 2, 3 different ways. And then take the notes from that scale and then play the chord family from that scale or key. Okay. And then do 8/4-2-1, with the chords from that key. Just getting to know that key in general is awesome. And then I talked about techniques. You can like maybe pick hammers, pulls, bends, whatever. Just work on on that, and then take apart maybe like there's a certain chord progression that you're not getting in a song that you're doing. So instead of playing the whole song, practicing the whole song, just isolate the part where you're having a hard time, and then dedicate 5-10 minutes to making sure that you get that clean. That is to me what practice is. So the practice regimen is always the same. It's making sure your hands are ready, then using the key and the scales to work your brain, then using the technique to make sure that you're okay with techniques that kind of works on your left hand, or maybe you're doing a right hand techniques, so it works on like I guess targeted kind of things on that you want to do with your ukulele, and and working on certain parts of the song. That's just how to get better. The goal is always to get better rather than like, okay, I was playing ukulele for like 5 hours. I played all the songs for my ukulele group that you usually do. Like I practiced for 5 hours. Like, no, you played ukulele for 5 hours.
Yeah.
You didn't practice for 5 hours. You just played your uke. The difference there is the word play. You played your ukulele. You didn't practice. You didn't sit down, learn techniques, learn like concepts or making sure you get the chords down, making sure you're making yourself cleaner as a player, or just, you're not getting better as a player. You're getting better, just on those songs, but you want to be better overall, because if you work on, say, the key of G, so you're not getting better on just one song in G. You're getting better at all the songs in G. If you can, do 8/4-2-1s, the techniques and the scales and the chord families and that, in that key, then you'll just be good at all, at all the songs that you're currently playing in that key. Yeah. That's the idea.
Yeah, I think like what's important to note too is that, like what you said, that it's like the warm ups and like the exercise and stuff. If an exercise becomes easy, then move it over to a warm up, because like the warm up should be like things that you don't really need to think about, things that you're just doing to get your fingers moving, get blood flowing. But then if something becomes easy as an exercise, then that's no longer, you're not pushing yourself to be better at that point, right? You're just like doing exercises, and so that's where it's like, oh, okay, then this is a warm up. Like I don't really need to think about this. I don't need to.
They're just warming up with that.
Because we also see people who are like, yeah, I do practice scales, and they just play the same scale up and down, like
you gotta
the same way, and then it's just like, okay, you spent like 5-10 minutes on that, but it's like it seems like you already got that. Like that's not at that point, it's not making you better. It's like what you want to practice or what you want to focus on is like things that I'm like, I don't know how this works, or I don't know why my fingers aren't nailing this, or why am I not playing this cleanly. So it's like I'm gonna spend the time to actually like do something to where I can like think about it and think about how can I get this particular part of my playing better. Really focus on that.
So that's what practice is. Okay.
Yep.
All right.
Okay. Genevieve said, I have several sets of strings still in their packaging. I just haven't gotten around to changing strings though. Do they never expire if they haven't been taken out of their packaging?
Some of them like have like packaging that keeps like the the air in or the moisture, making sure it doesn't like affect the integrity of the strings. Some don't, so just pick the ones that do. But even then, I think that strings do have like a shelf life, because things can just affect the the nylon or the if you're even if you're playing guitar, because I learned from playing guitar, even if it's like that like sealed, I know like elixirs, like they seal their strings and stuff, but even like strings that I've owned for like past a year or 2 years, when I open them up, they're like rusty inside, even though they're supposed to be sealed. So they do have a shelf life. But it's up to you. Inspect the string. If it looks like there's a something that's compromising the string's integrity, like maybe brown spots or anything like that, or it feels like it doesn't feel like how it should, because I'm sure what new strings feel like. So just kind of inspect it. It does have a shelf life. I wouldn't go past, I don't know, maybe like a year, with the string, 2 years even. Like,
Nah,
I think a year.
I think you're fine for like 10 years.
Oh yeah,
yeah,
dude. No, because like I'm gonna contest that, because I have AGAQ strings, and those guys only send me strings like, I don't know, once every 3 years. Like a box of the AG strings and stuff, and they I open up a box, because they're not sealed, and I open up a box, and like you could see some oxidation like on the strings, and it's not just mine, because I've also bought a box of like Diodario strings, both like titaniums and Pro Artes, just because I like those for some of my ukes. I figured if I buy them in bulk, I just always have them, and then I think like a year and a half in, I cracked open, like a fresh new one, and it too looked kind of like like it looked a little brown. That's why I'm saying brown, because I know what they look like, and I went through another pack, and it too was like kind of brown. I don't know if it's just where we live, but they have been compromised. Like, I wouldn't say 10 years. I have had that experience.
I think, yeah, especially like because we live in Hawaii, like electric strings definitely rust. Like, you open packs and they'll be rusty already. And then I'm sure wound strings too. Like, I had wound strings that were bad, but I think that's also telling though, where it's like you can keep strings for like a long time, and then just put them on your uke if you want to use them. That doesn't mean if you have old strings in their packaging, you shouldn't just throw them away. Like, if they're over 2 years old, without opening them and trying them out.
Yeah. Check it out. Yeah. I do say, like, to go check in on them. And I say about the feel, because that too, it wasn't only like kind of browning a little bit. Like, it was obvious that the strings were not like that. It shouldn't be that color. It looked darker. And then when I felt it, it was kind of not that it was shedding, but it had a different feel. Like, they don't feel like how they should. And I believe like the Diodario ones at least were like sealed in that, like in that package that they're in. It's so just a one package. They put all the strings in that one. And yeah, especially the titanium. It's like, I think I wasted the most money on the titaniums going bad, because I bought more of those than I bought the other strings. Yeah,
I don't know, because we ordered a bunch a long time ago, and I still use those. Yeah.
I don't know.
There's a bunch of titaniums, the PhDs. I still use the PhDs all the time.
They don't feel different.
No?
Huh.
I'm sure like
both of them are sealed though. Like, they're packaged individually.
If you really want to be careful, you can like get like a whole like airtight container to put extra strings in, or like do silica gel even, or try and control it that way. But at that point, it's like, it's a pack of strings, right? And it's like, if you're buying an extra pack to keep in your case just in case your strings break, even if they're old, you can just like slap them on to use for whatever. If you're like at a jam or something, right? Get you through that, and then be like, ooh, these strings aren't good. I'm gonna get new strings then, right? Like, so you can have a backup string set like that, and don't worry about it. But like, I think probably what you're saying, right, Aldrin, is like, you probably don't want to buy in bulk where it's like you have 10 whole packs.
Like a spool
I want to say they're less than 5 years, but they're but they were over 2 years, less than 5 over 2, and I went through all of them. I'm like, I can't believe I wasted, because it was like a box that like the Dear Darius sent me, and it was like,
Yeah.
yeah,
It is. Or yeah. I always like having like extra guitar strings on hand, just because like when my guitar strings rust, is like, am I gonna go down to the store at 10 o'clock at night, or it's like I can just swap them out now, right? But it is disappointing when it's like you open up the pack and it's like, these strings are not already bad, you know. But it's like, oh well, I'm just gonna use them for now until
maybe it just depends on like on the packaging. Maybe, I don't know.
Yeah, and then
where you store them also,
or it
maybe.
depends on like what you're gonna use them for too, right?
Yeah.
Because like dead strings are fine. Like you know, I've had
true.
strings
Yeah,
on my
that's true.
ukulele for like much
true.
longer than that, and so
And it's not like they're packaged up or anything.
yeah. So it kind of is like, if you're not like, you don't need a brand new set of strings because you're going to be on stage and your tone has to be perfect for your performance, then I don't think it matters that much, right? And the only thing that I can say is that I did find an ukulele that was from like the 70s, that the case had not been opened since like the 70s, and there was a brand new set of strings in it. Yeah. And then I think I tried restringing with those strings just to see.
Yeah.
And it didn't really hold its tune. So like in that case, like, yes, there is
like 30
there is a,
years.
there is an expiration to like nylon
Yeah.
strings, but I like, that's kind of an extreme example.
Yeah, because the Bumble Bard said that I've had my strings for around 5 years. They're still perfectly fine. I've decided I've never intended to change them either. Yeah, and there are people who are like that.
Just buy a new ukulele.
I mean, you know, like
this one has new strings on it.
on my ukuleles at home, and the ones that I don't play on stage and stuff, they have the same strings for like years.
Yeah.
Like I have a Martin ukulele that I don't think I changed in the past, like since pandemic. I think like I don't think I've changed it.
I think the biggest thing, or the thing that people would want to change the strings though for, is like Aaron said, where it's like they're playing a lot and they feel like the strings just don't stay in tune. Then it's like probably because your strings are bad, and if you change it, then you'll be like, oh, okay, like my ukulele can finally stay in tune now, you know, or whatever. Yeah. And that is the thing where it's like you play old strings for like a long time and you just get used to the sound, and then when you finally do change them, you're like, oh, this is how the uke is supposed to sound.
Yeah.
Like, I just
this is what new strings sound like. But yeah, if you're just playing casually and that's not that big of a deal,
I think the new string glory too lasts like maybe a week, 2 weeks at the most, and then eventually it kind of just like, oh, okay, they're broken in strings.
Basically, that first gig after, it's like, oh yeah, these do sound good, and then I forget. Like
I changed my strings recently, and like because my my ukulele was playing a little bit, at least the E string I noticed was just not staying in tune, and I haven't changed those strings since, I don't know, maybe the Korean tour did we tour again after that? No, we toured after LA. So and that was our last tour, right? LA was the last one. Because I changed it before tour, so like I guess September is the last time I changed. Don't do that, kids. if you play as much as I do, you should change your strings more often. But I changed strings because it was like not holding its intonation on the E string, and now like all the strings are okay except for A. A is playing crazy flat. And A was playing just fine with the same saddle, everything. I have no idea what happened. So like, you know, sometimes even I get like mystified, and we're like, oh, what is that? You know, like what caused that? So I'm trying to figure it out. It's been like 3 days. I still can't figure it out. I've been like sanding down the saddle to make it sharper. It's just not doing it something. And I hope it's not the ukulele. I'm gonna start over again with a fresh new saddle to see if that'll help. But I didn't want to have to go down that route because it's gonna take so much time.
And we talked about like there's old players, right, where you know their strings are old and they're bad and they don't play in tune, but they play the players play, and they know how to bend it to make the strings hit too. Like they know how to like.
I don't want to have to do that. I changed it because it was like it was the festival this weekend, and then like I had I had a couple gigs like on Saturday, and I would play Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. So I'm like for 5 days straight, like I'm gigging, so I got to change these strings and make sure that they sound good at least for the festival.
Yeah, and it's like those old players though. It's like you tell them. It's like, oh, hey, I'll change your strings, and they'll go like, no, don't touch them.
No, they're perfect.
Yeah, because they know exactly how they are, right? And then it's like, oh, they got it figured out. So that is a thing where it's like, if you like the strings that you currently have and you know how to play them, it's like, yeah, you can keep them.
So I brought an ukulele out of retirement just to kind of use that for now, like my old touring ukulele, and not the first one, not Mary Jane, the second one, and it was just. Ooh, man, it's rough. Like Ukulele definitely has, has gotten better through the years because going back to that one, it's like that one was kind of like rough around the edges, man. Or either that, or like it got so good that I got used to like the quality of life changes that like Ukulele has done. That going back to the old one, I'm like, ugh, so hard to play my fingies.
Yeah.
Okay, next.
Ritesh asked. We're going to learn more arrangements by Herb Ohta Sr.
I will ask Herb Ohta Sr. All right, next.
Yeah, very much.
I don't know, man. Like, I don't know.
Was that from this?
You could probably, like, I'm sure he has a bunch of books, right? Like, out that, or like his arrangements and stuff. Like, go look for books that they put out with his with his arrangements in it. If you want to learn more, or it could be like a perfect opportunity for you to like to start making your own arrangements or just kind of using your ear to figure those out. I know how you play, man. You can pretty much just try to listen to it. You can just play normal chords, but I know he uses like jazzy chords. Just try to figure out what the bass chord is and then make it jazzy after that. You don't have to like get the exact right chord every time. Just guess as to the closest that you can get to that chord. It should be all good. And Herb Ohta Sr. is the kind of guy that there's probably tons of books out there that shows how to play his stuff. And if not, if you could find somebody that went to Roy Sakuma's studio, like school, ukulele school, they have a bunch of like Herb Ohta Sr. songs that they've done, and they've played for like the Ukulele Festival Hawaii. So go down that route. So there's a bunch of routes you can take.
Yeah.
Yeah, are there any in that book that's
I don't know, maybe.
I think that
Oh no, that's Eddie Kamai.
No, there's that green book that Jake referenced.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, but I think that was just how to play
yeah.
general book.
So just do that. Or a lot of his songs are like jazz standards. So you could probably just find the chords for that and then like go off from there. Like if you can find the chords or at least the chord progression and try the chord progression out and see if it matches like what he's playing on the album. If not, then adjust either your tuning or adjust the key. Yeah. And you could probably do it that way. That's how I figured out one of his songs recently. Choto Mate Kudasai. To make it easier for me, I just looked up what are the chords to that song? Like I just looked up the chords and then did a little bit of adjusting and I made an arrangement like for that song. It was relatively easy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like loosely based on
loosely
his
based
version,
on that.
but...
I mean, I tried to try to stay as close to like for whatever my ears can hear kind of voicings that he's doing.
Yeah.
Sounds pretty close, but I mean, I have no idea, you know what I mean? Like it's not like there was a video of him playing that song from that, that recording. And it's each jazz is like that too. Like, each recording or each time he plays it is going to be a little bit different.
Yeah.
Like Mike said, right? I forget who he said it was, who like the person came and was like, hey, I made a transcript of what
your songs.
And the guy looked at it was like, well, I can't read this. So, I guess it's good or whatever, but I don't know. I can't imagine that Herb, if you find books of Herb, and Jim said like Jumpin' Jim's Ukulele Masters, Herb Ohta.
Yeah.
Maybe that one.
Yeah, I'm sure there are books.
But I can't imagine that Herb Sr., Herb Ohta Sr. learned through like books or like, it's like that. I think it probably was the way that you said, where it's like, oh, these are jazz standards. I'm going to just try and play along with them and make them my own. And it's like, and if you really want to sound like Ohta-san, is like, I think that is the best way, is like find recordings of him or try and play along, find the chords and maybe get a basic idea. But then it really is like, that's all those, like kind of the old school way of learning is like, okay, we might teach you the chords or give you the simple pattern, but beyond that, you're on your own, and you gotta. It's about experimenting.
Yeah, I have one of those like pocket real books, you know, like so the real book that I have, if like Ohta played like some kind of jazz standard, I'd be like, okay, where's that jazz standard in this book, and just learn a chord progression, and then like try to figure out from there, and then. Yeah, it's not so bad. He's that kind of jazz player. I mean, I know he has arrangements of his own and stuff, but that's a good place to start at least.
Yeah.
That actually sounds like a fun project.
Yeah.
Like if you're excited about any of his songs, like just start listening to him and then trying to figure out like what that's part of the allure of learning songs on the ukulele. It's like a puzzle, right?
Yeah. And it's me and Aaron were kind of talking about this before the podcast, and it's like people will enjoy songs and music and they'll be like, oh, I love that song. And then they're like, where's the sheet music for that song? And it's almost like, I don't think the person who played that song had sheet music or knew like even what 4/4 time was. Right. He just played and it's like, oh, it feels good enough, so I'm gonna play like this. And if you really want to encapsulate like how somebody sounds or how they play, I think that is like try and do it that way. Like learn through ear first before you like immediately just look for a transcription or however written down.
Yeah. You know, just call him. Just find his number somewhere. Call him up. Like Herb Ohta Sr. Just call him Herb Ohta or Ohta San. Just call him up and be like, "Sup, oos?" Well, you get the chords. You get the chords to your songs.
What's the strumming?
What's the strumming pattern to your song? Come on, oos. I thought we was oos.
Yeah.
Use my uso.
One of those things too that really makes his playing special is how he expresses each note. So it's like
you can't teach that.
Yeah, so
you can't notate that either.
You just have to listen to him playing it over and over, and then try to put yourself in the shoes of the person that would play that note that way.
Yeah, even the feel, even just the feel, not even just like the like the technique or whatever the time. It's the feel, like because we mentioned like while we were touring Thailand, like Uncle Benny Chong was like trying to teach me stuff, and I'm like, am I not playing what you're showing me? He's like, yeah, but the feel is
you
wrong.
are playing all of the notes that I told you to play, but like not how I would play them.
Like what is happening? Like, am I not doing what you're asking me to do? He's like, no, it doesn't sound jazzy. You got to swing it or whatever. I'm like, I don't understand. So you could get the music and like and still not play it like how Ohta-san plays it. You got to listen.
And funnily enough is that the one person that he did really approve of was Rio. who just played Blue Note with Jake. Right? Yeah. And
recently.
Like, that makes sense because like he even back then when he was a little baby boy and he was absorbing all of this stuff from Uncle Benny and all of these great, like he already kind of had that feel, and he just. All this time he's just been working.
Kid is scary, man. Yeah. He's so good. And like he was good then already, Yeah. And now he's at like that scary level. Like it's scary.
But he's at the level where like he doesn't have to prove anything.
No.
Like he's comfortable in his own skin now. Like he absorbed like all of his influences and
now he's making his own
created
stuff.
His own voice.
It's really cool because he can go like the Benny Chong route and or Byron Yusui route if he wanted to. He can also go the Jake route if he wanted to. He can go the Ohta route if he wanted to. He could go the like Kale route if he wanted to. It's just he's
doing the real route.
Yeah, and that's why and the real route is that he has his route, but like he can, at any point in the song or who he plays with, like that's why he jammed with Jake. He can turn on the Jake if he needs to turn the Jake on. Yeah, it's so crazy. That kid is so talented.
I think it's like you were saying, like how you're trying to play and like Benny was telling you, and it's like, am I not doing the same thing as you, right? But that's like that also is a part of the learning experience where it's like you kind of learn like there's something that I'm not doing that they're doing, and like do I try to close the gap or cross that bridge,
Mm-hmm.
or do I just decide, okay, I'm gonna take this and kind of morph it to my own styling then, right? And so it's as much like learning from other people and learning what they do as learning about yourself and like kind of doing self-discovery of like how your own playing style will
Yeah.
become.
Just call them up. Helping Uso out, right? Kahai,
Yeah.
would you say that? You would say that.
I just imagine all the older players that like I got to know on my dad's bench and ever asking them like, oh, what's the strumming pattern? Oh, what's you doing? Oh, what's the time signature for this?
The time signature.
At least that's like a legit
They
question.
would be like, what is a time signature?
Yeah, what is the time? Like, no, but they would at least understand that if you're like, what is the strumming pattern? Ohta-san, what is the strumming pattern for this? They're like, what is the
That's
strumming
not a
pattern?
thing.
No.
I would argue that some of the
Yeah.
people that I play with on my dad's bench
Yeah.
would not know what the time signature was. It was like, or it's like, hey, what's the key for this song? It's like,
Yeah.
key? What you talking about key? I know more house key. I know more, what kind of key you like? Do you have a key? Yeah. Yeah, that really is the just press. Just
Yeah,
press.
man.
Yeah.
So yeah, but Ohta-san, shout out to Ohta-san and Ohta Jr. Like super cool dudes. Like just, I have like the biggest respect for both of them. Hilarious dudes, also. You know, if you guys ever ever have a chance to like to get to know them like in that way, they're hilarious. Both of them are hilarious.
Okay.
And now last question maybe, or you want to? Is there one more?
Yeah, kind
Yeah,
of.
let's do one more.
So Scott said, "Hi guys, I'm interested in getting a Klos carbon fiber, and I'm wondering if any of you have a non-wooden ukulele, especially the higher end K-price ones. Cheers, Scott."
K-priced ones?
I don't- Oh, I guess K price, but not K.
Yeah. No, not K. K brands don't make-
K brands
nah.
don't make non.
I think the
wooden
closest is that
ukuleles.
Holo Holo series but that's Islander, right?
That's- n-
Or
I don't know.
Kanilea. Kanilea makes that Holo Holo.
Yeah, but that's not.
K-price.
I wouldn't.
Yeah, I guess it's
that
not
one
K price,
either.
like a couple $100 or something, you know.
Yeah.
But maybe not even it's like $100-something.
But then, but I did in the chat. I did reply that the Blackbird Farallon is one of my dream ukuleles. But then he, I mean, that's what a K price is, around $3
Right,
grand.
right. But the one that you mentioned, Klos, like actually a bunch of the students in our AG Academy plays Klos ukuleles, and they like them. I played them before; they're pretty good, Like
Yeah.
as far as
I'm not a fan, but
like yeah. I mean, I'm down for solid body or solid top ukuleles. But if you really wanted them, like it's not a lot of people are happy with them. So there's like what 2 or 3 people that I've seen them with.
yeah, they're popular.
Yeah.
Keep in mind though that with that, I don't even know how to pronounce it. Klos or Klos.
Klos.
Yeah.
I don't know. Yeah.
Keep in mind that they have several tiers. So one option is to have the carbon fiber body, but a mahogany neck. So that's not like a total carbon
yeah.
fiber. And then if you do full carbon fiber, then that's a little bit more expensive. But that's an option.
Is it because they have to like reinforce the neck part of the carbon fiber?
I think it just takes a lot of material. So
I see.
yeah, and maybe some building time too. So
Yeah. Yeah, they're fine. They're fine.
Yeah.
Like I don't know what else to say about it. They're okay. And if you played one and you hear how it sounds, it's basically gonna sound like that forever. Like
Yeah.
it's not like it's gonna get any better or worse, unless I don't know, you step on it or something, but please don't do that. Yeah, unless it gets damaged, it should sound exactly like how it sounds then. It's not one of those solid top ukes that like will get better with age and whatever. Maybe it might change, but I don't think so. I don't think carbon fiber works in that way. But so if you like the way that it sounds, go for it, because that's what it's going for. It's not gonna change anytime soon.
Yeah.
it has a lot of volume. It's pretty easy to play.
Yeah.
But I don't like that it has a slightly metallic sound. I don't know how else to describe
Yeah.
it, but it does have a
Kinda-
slightly metallic sound
Yeah,
to it.
ting. There's like a ting that like that
Yeah, so
sound to it.
So that's the reason why I like the Blackbirds, is because it's not carbon fiber necessarily. It's linen based. It's a similar type of process of creating it, as carbon fiber, but they sound a lot more dynamic, almost wooden quality. They sound, the Blackbirds have, they're probably the best sounding ukuleles that I've heard. Not even like, not even not wood.
Ah, interesting.
They're just in general, probably the best sounding ukuleles that I've heard or played, you know. So that's the reason why I would want one, but they're not for everybody.
Their K price are like $2,000 or something.
Yeah, I think around 3, depending on what you add on to it too.
The students who have class in your class, it's like they got it because of like how durable it is, more probably, or like
I think so. I mean, some of them just get it because it's a cool, like different looking ukulele, you know.
Yeah.
But I think a lot of it has to do with it being kind of indestructible. So, you know.
So most of them say like I feel comfortable leaving it in my car on a hot day, and it's totally fine. So
yeah. I mean, and I think that is the thing is like if you can try it out in person to see if you like the sound, because if you like the sound, then go for it. But I wouldn't buy any ukulele based on like sound samples that you hear online or something else, and I would really try and get them in person or try them out in person before you get it, just so you at least have a know of the feeling. And because if you're probably expecting like, oh, I have a wooden ukulele, but I want something that's going to be indestructible but still kind of sound like a wooden ukulele, then like it just depends on how willing you're able to like give up, or like how much you're willing to say like, oh, it doesn't quite sound like my ukulele, but I like that it's tough.
Yeah. That's why I liked Ovations or like the other applause. It was indestructible. No, they're just talking about his indestructible qualities. Like if you open that thing up, have you ever seen a top of that uke? It's like this thick, dude.
And bracing is that thick too.
It's pretty insane, man.
It's like, why would you need to have bracing on this if the top is that thick? Yeah.
So it's pretty thick.
I like learned from restringing my sister's guitar, Ovation guitar. It's like they put so many shims underneath the bridge, and they send it that way because they said like
you can adjust your height that way.
Yeah, but they make the action super high because it's like we're expecting this to go to the worst conditions possible, and for that to like offset the action. So we're just basically making it like as hard as it can be, and if it goes to someplace that's easier, it's like just take it out then, just take out the shims and make it easier for yourself.
Yeah, I learned that in high school. It was it was kind of an accident, you know. Like I was taking my strings out, changing my strings. Strings came off, and then that top part came off. I'm like, oh no! And I think I missed one. Yeah. And then like I put it back, and I'm like, it like feels so much better. Like what is this? You know? And it was like an accident, and it was great. I'm like, oh man, this plays so much better. But again, as a collector, I'm looking for one. If anyone has a tenor applause ukulele that you're willing to sell, this guy's missing one from his collection because mine broke.
Do you know what it's called? Like it's like OV or something like
I don't know. It's an applause. It's not Ovation applause. Tenor applause, because Ovations I think are only made soprano. And it's the red and doesn't have the hole in the, you know, has a 2, I guess, you know, from the one in the top. So the one I'm looking for is a tenor with a cutaway, any color, natural, black or yellow, whatever the official name for those colors are. But I'm looking for any one of those, and they're not for anything other than just my collection. I'm just looking to collect an applause tenor ukulele. The electronics must be working though. I do have to say, electronics must be working, because the OP24 Plus, like, and that's how I know it, like still by name, like OP24 Plus, one of the best pieces of electronics I've ever used in my career. Like the see, this is making people not want to sell it now. So the applause, the tenor applause ukulele, not the greatest uke. I wouldn't even say, like, not even in my top 20 ukuleles that I've played. But plugged in, dang, that thing can sing, because that it's all that pickup. It's not even the ukulele itself, it's that pickup. That pickup sounds so good. And if I could rip that pickup and somehow install it like on one of my like kanilea ukuleles, that would be the dream combination. I feel if I can get that same sound, like plugged in.
Yeah, I was gonna say like you're gonna do that though, but it's not gonna work because it's not, the back is rounded. It's built specifically for that.
I gotta find one of those old school, like with the Fishman ones that people used to have, like the fat ones, like that that they used to put like on board. You ever seen those? Like I'm looking for that pickup also, like that Fishman like onboard pickup. Not for anything, just for collection. Just for collection.
Yeah.
Because I don't like heavy ukuleles with the onboard, but I just want one just because, just to have.
Yeah,
Just like with the applause. Is it to use? Is it play on stage? Not really. I just want it.
It would be fun if we could do stuff like that where it's like, we don't need the ukulele, we just need the pickup, and we're gonna try and slap it into a new ukulele and see if it sounds just as good.
I just want to see. I just want to see if it can work. I'm gonna try it on an ukulele, see if I can use the same electronics. But I think part of it is because of that solid body or whatever. So, but we'll see. We'll see. Once I get my hands on one, we'll see.
Yeah. The model number was UAE 148.
Okay. Yeah, I can't even find them on eBay or anything like that.
Yeah, they're rarely on there.
So if I find one, if you have one,
Yeah,
I'll
you
pay
can
the
actually get the soprano pretty easily.
No, thank you.
But yeah,
Yeah, no, thank you. I'm willing to pay the original price that you paid for it.
Like
It's a steal.
you probably can't find it, right? Because
no.
people just put the ovations or applauses in their closet, and then they're like, I forgot I even had this thing.
Yeah, it's like I bought it for $350. Like those ukes were only like $350, and like professionals use them. Like I remember Imua Garza like recorded all the albums. I think he plays it still to this day.
Yeah,
like that's his ukulele of choice. Like it. I want one just for nostalgia's sake. I want one.
Do you know if Imua's has the original pickup and all the original?
I don't know. But
That'd be so
according to
insane.
the stickers that's on that ukulele, it's the same ukulele that he's had since like OPE Pickers 1 beginnings. Oh, not in like fresh off the rocks.
Yeah.
Okay. Anything else, gentlemen?
No, I think that's pretty much it. So announcement, I guess, like I'm gonna try and get the solo out later on today, and then the preview should be out tomorrow.
Sounds good. And can you give us a hint of what it is?
It's, well, I don't know if you guys can tell, I'm a little under the weather, and you might say I sound a little croaky.
You got a little frog in your throat?
Yeah, a little frog in my throat,
So you would say it's not so easy being green.
Yeah.
I see. That's somewhere over the rainbow. That's what it is.
Yeah,
See, people have been waiting for us to do that. So it's time. Today, you might, okay? It's like check under the tree. All the people who've been wanting, like somewhere over the rainbow. If you've always wanted, if you always wanted to learn the rainbow song, check under your tree today. Okay?
Yep.
Just keep checking under that tree. You're going to get a rainbow song.
Yep.
Right?
Yeah.
Kai?
Yeah.
Somewhere.
Yeah.
Somewhere.
Yeah.
That rainbow somewhere.
Yeah.
Let's just say, right?
Yep.
Can we give that as a hint?
Yeah.
All right. You're gonna learn that rainbow song. Check under your tree.
It's like, I hope all these people feel like that lady who went to your guys' show and talked about Neil Diamond.
I'm still trying to do the double layer joke.
We'll see.
All right. So have a great one, everyone. Enjoy the rest of your week. I hope you had a good weekend. We will see you Friday for Aloha Friday Live Jam. Till then, drink some water. Hydrate yourself because you should. You're looking a little thirsty, okay? Go hydrate, hug your loved ones, touch some grass, do all that good stuff. Play some ukulele, and then see us back here on Friday. Shoots, cuz. Shoots, my oos.